Is all that true? Do we really do all those things?
That's
I can't
right.
believe it.
We do it all.
This is Weekend Live, the Hamptons now at this performance, the part of Bridget Leroy. This weekend,
Will be played by Gianna Volpe.
Gianna Volpe joins us from WLIW, NPR, and very soon an LTV television show called
The Deep Dive. Yes.
The Deep Dive. Speaking of deep dives, we are talking about Paul McCartney, Julie Andrews, Candace Bushnell. Did you know Mark Wahlberg is DJing out here this weekend?
I didn't know that.
I did not know that in the voice of the late Johnny Carson. That is weird wild. Mark Wahlberg is DJing. Billy Joel has made a big announcement, Sag Harbor's own Billy Joel. And my daughter Lily had a big birthday last night. And I'm going to tell you about that only because these guys showed up that were hibachi guys.
At your house?
Yes, and it's like Benihana comes to your house in the Hamptons, sets up at the pool. They have giant soaker guns filled with sake. So they card everybody and make sure they're old enough. And they shoot sake at you. They make the whole thing. It's $50 a person, which is crazy cheap out here.
Yeah, it is.
And it's just a great time. And they are not sponsors. They're not paying me anything. And I already gave them money. So
it's probably cheaper than going to Benihana.
It is cheaper than going to Benihana. Yeah. Welcome. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you for having me here.
Okay, hold your applause to the end. We have an incredible show. We're going to learn about a fashion show, a movie festival.
And, yes, film and fashion.
And you brought the Lipmans.
That's
the Lipmans are going to be
right.
here.
Howie and
Those
Sherry.
nutty Lipmans are here.
Yes, it's something that's really cool that's happening here in the Hamptons that you might not be able to go to, but you can definitely support the cause.
Support the cause, make a contribution,
if you're
because
interested.
this is the Hamptons now. This is a show, and you're watching it on either June 10th or 11th. It happens live this weekend, and it's about everything happening in the news and going on. We're going to take you to some tag sales. We're going to go to some open houses. We have a lot to share with you. Let's get with the weather first, because we have a nice weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Throw that graphic up. The highs and lows are pretty good. We do have an
.gov website, and it looks like the air quality is actually good right now.
You know,
Sun is
Trump was
shining.
bragging in New York that the cloud was bigger and better over Trump Tower. It's gold, it's
gonna
yellow
be the
every
biggest
place else, but it's
cloud I've
gold
ever
here.
seen.
Humidity is 59%. The winds are on Saturday out of the west. And we have a UV index, which even with all this new cloud cover from Canada,
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
Put on your SPF, my friends.
Tomorrow, or we should say Sunday if you're watching this on Sunday, a little cloud coverage, high of 71, overnight low of 59,
Still
and humidity
beautiful,
rises
though.
to 67%. UV
Yeah.
index.
It drops to a 7, but
Isn't
you
that-
know,
Are you surprised by that? No, I have no idea what these numbers mean. And
it still means wear your sunscreen. That's all.
Yes.
Even if there's clouds, especially if there's clouds, you should be wearing your SPF.
so the Lipmans are here. We've got we have a jewelry designer, but first up, let's bring him in right now, because there's something happening in the Hamptons we talked last week about all the stand-up comedy that's happening,
Ooh,
which
yes.
is kind of a big deal.
You've been doing
yeah.
Wednesday nights at Main Prospect.
Yeah,
And
so-
I'll be doing stand-up on the 22nd at the Vale Levitt for amateur night.
Okay, if it's not happening this weekend, we don't talk about
Oh,
it, so we'll edit
sorry.
that out. No, it's live, thanks. We'll come to that on the 22nd and we'll have you back. In the meantime, another really hot category out here is a ghost kitchen or a pop-up. Now, we've had pop-up stores throughout the Hamptons over the years, but now restaurants are coming out
Oh, right.
in
Okay.
food trucks or
It
in,
took me a minute for a second when you said ghost kitchen.
were
I
you
imagined-
scared?
Well, I
Little chill
imagined
up the back?
a ghost chef and ghost line cooks.
Yeah, so in addition to the hibachi guys that show up, that we now have Indian food that was in Southampton last year and now is in Sag Harbor, starting today. Ruby Murray, Edward Brooks joins us now. Come on in, Edward. Edward brought some.
Hi.
Hi.
So nice to meet you.
Nice to see you, sir.
Yeah.
Cheerio, and here, stand right in there and tell us what you brought, because, well, first of all, let's get the origin of the name Ruby Murray. It has a name that's tied to England.
Yeah, well, there's two stories, both of which are completely true. One is rhyming slang, and so Cockney rhyming slang. If you're in the East End of London, Cockney, it's complicated, but basically a Cockney is someone who lives in the East End of London, and they've got their own sort of terminology. So, dog and bone, phone. So they say, I'm going to call you on the dog. Boat race, face. So she's got a great boat race face. So curry is Ruby Murray. So let's go for a Ruby Murray curry. So that's kind of the derivation for the name. But Ruby Murray.
Are we subtitling this guy? I have absolutely no idea what he's saying.
I'm going to be talking like you for like the next
Right.
year.
Yeah, it's like Gwyneth Paltrow when she
Dog,
married
bone,
Chris Martin. She kept calling
bone.
everybody gobsmack. So Ruby Murray is a term. It's a Cockney term.
Yeah.
And it refers to curry.
Ruby Murray curry, rhyming slang.
See, he understood. I was lost in the sounds. I was having such a good time.
So I was just in London.
She was a real person. She was a real person as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
Ruby Murray?
she was born in Belfast, and she's one of the few people in the world to have had 5 songs in the top 10 at the same time.
Oh.
There you go.
Wow. I did not know that. Second Johnny Carson callback. So look, this is exciting because what happens is you last year in Southampton just moved into like a little market that didn't have a restaurant per se, and you were killing it there. I mean, everybody was showing up and taking home bags of Indian food, and now you're in Sag Harbor. Where?
Yeah, we're right in Division Street, and the big news is it's no longer a pop-up, it's permanent.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
At the back of the feedback in Southampton, we thought, well, we're in this deep, might as well get deeper.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
Go
I wouldn't
for
say
it.
that to your landlord, because
Yes.
then the rents go crazy out here. Just tell him you're thinking about it.
well, we signed a 25-year lease because we were that confident.
Good.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Here to stay.
what is it about Indian food that people seem to enjoy?
It's really, really difficult to talk about because, or to put a word on it, because I mean, we get a lot of passion, or people say, "Oh my God, I was dying for a curry," and people say, "I'm really keen for fish and chips," or "I'm really keen for spaghetti bolognese." But this kind of like passion, I'm dying for a curry. It's like a really, so
Right.
it's almost like chemical. So we're not selling drugs or anything like that, but it's kind of there's that kind of like.
And there wasn't, I mean, there's Saz here, but there's not a lot filling the niche for Indian food on the East End.
Well, there's 3 great places. There's Saz, there's Tapovana, which is very healthy stuff in Bridgehampton.
Okay.
And there's us. So I think there's kind of a sort of gradual takeover.
Yeah, Tapovana is one of my buddies, and
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
killing it.
It's
He's
amazing
there at the
stuff.
Bridgehampton Commons or the Bridgehampton Community House,
Yeah.
and then he's also available at other locations. But this is hot, fresh, delivered or picked up.
Exactly.
And what? Tell us about the 2 dishes.
So I
you
mean,
brought.
so this is like chicken tikka masala, and this is butter chicken, and we do like a number of things. And accidentally, about 60% of the menu is actually vegetarian.
Oh, nice.
So we do paneer sag, we do chickpea tikka masala. So really, I mean, it's kind of again, we like to support everyone, but accidentally, it is very, very broad in who it can appeal to. A couple of vegan dishes as well, and this is kind of the surprise thing in the whole thing is that our burfi is like kind of dessert, which
Is that Indian? Is that an
hang on,
Indian?
It looks like- it looks like
Just
fudge.
have a bite. You just
What
have
is?
a-
I'm not doing sugar, so I apologize. But
Oh, good thing
what
I
is
brought you
what
a
is-
chocolate cream
Is it like an
pie.
English? It looks like an English toffee.
No, it's very
Oh.
much. It's it's kind of.
Is that a
Like,
good
kind
O
of
or a bad O?
Really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
good,
yeah.
alright.
I'll
We
be
call it
checked.
like a birthday moment when you see you have their first bite, they go, oh, so that's the birthday moment. But is this a surprise thing on our
Oh,
menu? Which
very
kind of,
good.
no one was ever ordering it because who the hell thinks about having a curry and chocolate? But it goes really, really well after the meal. And then on its own, it's more breakfast food than curry. Because I thought we were actually going to be having curry for breakfast. That's why I was excited. But
Well,
obviously-
dig in. You're
That sounds
good.
like
We have to
that sounds
talk.
like your memoir.
Yeah,
Curry
yeah.
for breakfast.
Yeah. So that's it.
Yeah, if you're hungover, this is the perfect thing. Order some. What time do you open?
Oh, 8 a.m. for people who've got hangovers.
Really?
No,
Wow.
no, it's midday till 9 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah, well, Hampton's Live, we like to say it's like the Today Show if they were out drinking all night. So
And
this
what's
is
it called? What's it called again?
Ruby Murray's.
Ruby Murray's.
Ruby Murray.
Who was a woman who was born in Belfast.
And this is not like some
Over
Labrador retriever's tongue. This is,
Naan bread or
Naan.
yeah,
something.
and that's all
So one of the
natural
most-
and made, that's made in-house also?
Well, one of the most popular things we've got is this. It's called a naan wrap, which basically is one of the sauces wrapped in.
Oh,
naan
that
bread.
sounds so
It is,
good.
yeah. Well, Ryan, our chef, and co-owner, he actually invented it to one lunchtime 2 weeks ago. It's very, very good, but it's also very practical. For
And I
those-
like it when it's self-contained and the
There's no packaging.
ingredients don't fall.
Well, yeah, because these are
Fall
quite
out
robust
everywhere,
bits
yeah.
of bread, so there's lots of sauce in there, but it's.
She's messy. That's the problem. Hey, listen,
Look at
how
me
can
eating
folks
with my fingers.
get a hold of you?
Well, the website, rubymurrays.world.
Dot World?
Ruby
Yeah,
Murray's
yeah.
Dot
Oh,
World.
Dot
Yeah, because
They're taking over. It
I
starts.
love that.
Southampton, Sag Harbor, then after that, the rest of the world. It's kind of simple.
That's Edward Brooks. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for
Pleasure,
bringing
yeah.
all this. We're going
Yes,
to
I
feed
can
everyone else.
shake your hand with this
Left
side
hand,
now.
because it's too sticky
Yeah.
with that head.
Break a leg of
Right,
lamb
yeah,
there.
thanks.
Good for you. Thank you. Okay, let's go to the front page of the New York Times and talk about some of the news that's happening. This is
Trump put us at risk. It says U.S.
You and me.
but-
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
U.S. at risk indictment says 38 more counts. But I guess the big story that we were sort of alluding to a couple of
my
moments ago
God.
is that orange sky. You might see it more often.
Stop
And
it,
this article
no.
says that because we are warmer and because Canada is not as wet during the winter, that lightning or people, 50% of the fires that are caused by people, are going to continue to happen. So we're going to get this kind of sepia, Sergio Leone Western look. It does create a health hazard. They are asking people to stay in New York City. They had it much worse there than we had it here so far. But it is manageable. It's going to continue to happen. It's like, as I said, we've always said the Hamptons are like Malibu, and now we have smog. So this is it. It's a new reality, and sadly, it's going to continue to happen. Here are some of the other things we're going to be talking about today. On the cover of Purist magazine, there is Mr. Neil Patrick Harris. Have you
Oh my
interviewed
gosh,
him? Have you liked
no,
him?
not yet.
Okay, all right,
Not
calm
yet.
down.
One
That'll happen.
day. I love Neil Patrick Harris.
And this is an exclusive. They got he and his partner together on the cover of Purist. So they're talking about wellness and the fact that they eat vegan. And
Ooh,
then,
and life lessons from Deepak Chopra.
yes, we all need those. And it's a booking coup to get them. So, no, he's also on Hampton's
Stop.
magazine.
Wow.
So everywhere. And in this article, he says he eats at the Palm. So it's a little contradictory. No, it's not. I haven't read either one of them. So that's what's happening on newsstands. We talked about the weather. We'll get to open houses. We're going to talk about tag sales, which is one of my
Yes,
favorite
I'm ready.
things happening out here. Let's take a look at today's tide tables if you're going tiding. I have no idea who uses this information, but because it's happening today,
You're going
we want to
tiding.
bring it up. There's the high and low tide on the South Shore. Those are for today, Saturday. And that's what's happening out on the waters.
If you're clamming, if you're fishing.
I'm feeling a
Those are
little
the people.
clammy.
Are
How
you?
was that dessert thing, honestly,
It was
now that he's
super
gone?
good. And you know what? Now I feel a little silly that I bought you a chocolate pie.
Oh, yeah,
From
bring that out.
Briarmere.
Let's take a look at that thing.
He's not doing sugar.
Yeah, I gave sugar up about 6 months ago. Nobody,
know
as
what,
my
you're-
wife would say, nobody cares, Bill.
You're a smart man. I won't
She
put
says
this
that
in
a
your
lot.
face. I won't pull a
I'll
Bugs
take
Bunny.
this home, though.
But that's Briarmere.
I've got 7
Farms.
University of Michigan girls staying for the weekend.
I was gonna go with
and
lemon meringue, and I wish I had.
Where is it? No, this is more, black and white together, getting along. It's much more topical and timely. Where did that come from again?
Briarmere Farms.
Briarmere Farms.
The one and only in Riverhead.
One of the things I want to talk about next weekend, because I don't have the information to tell you about it this weekend, is a lot of the farm stands aren't open yet. And I wonder if there is some kind of reason for that, like they don't get their permits to open. I know there are a lot fewer food trucks this year, and I know that has been difficult. The town has kind of
Really?
cracked down on some of those and said that you can't do that. So I guess the restaurants
I
were
didn't know about that.
complaining. What are you gonna do? Yeah, the restaurants aren't making enough money out here. Sorry to our folks at
I don't believe it.
Ruby Murray, but yeah, it's a problem. So here is some of what we're gonna be talking about in just in the next half hour.
Oh, I'm so glad you have that.
Saturday, June 10th, from noon to 6 o'clock at LTV, an Indigenous fashion runway show, an Indigenous films and discussion. The folks behind that, and a fashion show, as we said. I was in the other studio. It's set up like Fashion Week. There's a runway.
I am super excited for this. So when you asked me to do this show with you, I was like, well, how can we not talk about the big event happening right here at LTV Studios, starting at noon. It's free. The world premiere of Gnu Benton's The Dim. Kayla Looking Horse Smith is going to be having all of her looks. I believe she teamed up with Lionel Thundercloud,
Right.
who does amazing jewelry. There's going to be vendors. There's going to be dancers. So I'm super excited to talk to them.
I want an Indian name. Is that, I mean, no disrespect. I want sleeping with sofa or something like, I want something that describes me
Oh
in
my
a way.
God.
I would never be
Bill.
Thundercloud. I would never be like anything cool. I would have a bad. All right, let's move on.
Yeah.
Bill looks at stuff.
Julie Andrews. Julie Andrews, we'll get to that. Her husband Blake Edwards is at the movies. Candace Bushnell is doing an event tonight. We'll talk about that. I mentioned Mark Wahlberg. I guess we can talk about Billy Joel right now.
About how he sold his Oyster Bay house?
No, that Oyster Bay house is still for sale, I think.
Oh, okay.
But he's decided after 10 years, according to Dan's paper and some other sources, to, let's get to Flo Anthony's south of the highway, and north too, but mostly south, but north as well. Faster. Yeah, he has decided to, he used to go from that Oyster Bay house in a helicopter to the top of MSG.
I would not be surprised. It sounds like a reasonable way
If
for
you
Billy
can-
Joel to get to the
If
garden.
you can, you do. There he is. And he's gonna give up the Madison Square Garden thing after 10 years.
Oh,
The residency
wow.
there, yeah. This is, the last show is, it's done
I
150
think that's
shows in
probably
10 years.
part of his decision. One of the reasons why he's selling his Oyster Bay home is so he can spend more time with his grandchildren
I guess.
in Florida.
Yeah.
It's just what I read.
Those of you vacationing out here, oh, look, we have an ant.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't kill it. He's one of the guys you can go up to. I mean, he'll hate that I say this, but he's very approachable. He's very, he lives
Oh,
right
he
in
would
the
hate
town
that, yes.
of Sag Harbor. He has a
I would-
motorcycle and a boat collection, and he waves to people. So
We
he's
like
one of the
this.
good ones. He's
Yeah.
one of the good.
Stay kind. Why not?
Says me
Doesn't
for no
hurt.
other reason. And oh look, well we're in Dan's paper. Here's a little ad for WLIW.
Oh my gosh, that's
The Heart of the East End
us.
Music. Let's get a shot of that. Who's
That's-
that?
That's my new headshot. I'm
Who's
sad
that?
about it because I loved my old headshot so much that it was like several years old. But
Heart of the East
The
End
Heart of the East
Music,
End.
Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to noon, and then aren't you on at
music
midnight
and
sometimes too?
news and interviews with folks from all walks of life. So the show is live Monday through Friday, 9 to 11. Replay at midnight.
Any weekend playings?
No, we have such a great
So
schedule
again, we
on the
don't care
weekend.
on this show, so we'll edit that part out. But
Okay.
but thank you for dropping by. No, that's exciting. Good for you.
I love
Let's
my
now talk about real estate. Let's bring our real estate guests over and do what we call the Real Estate Roundtable. This is brought to you by Douglas Elliman. We want to thank them. We also want to thank Melissa Cohn, who was on last week. Come on and sit down. Tell us who we've got here. This is Sarah Alvarez and Tim Birch. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome. Thank you for having us.
So this is our little chance to sort of put you two on the hot seat. Every week we get great guests to talk about what's happening on the East End. And we know a lot of people came out during COVID. We know they bought houses thinking they were going to be able to rent them. They're all traveling this summer supposedly. Those houses are all for rent. I guess my question for both of you first is, have we seen any upticks up or down in the last week since our last show? Or is there a lot of activity, or is it still June and not happening yet?
On the sales side, I would say it's probably still, pretty level. There was an increase in the amount of new listings that came on the market.
Is that
which
because
is
of
good.
schools closing and whatnot?
Yeah, I think it's just sort of like there's all these sort of like mile markers that hit, and I think like a Memorial Day weekend kind of slows things down, but then the week after things pick up a little bit.
Right.
So there were very few listings the week of Memorial Day, but then the following week we saw more. It's just kind of, there's all these sort of like imaginary barriers, I would say.
Tim Birch is with Brown Harris Stevens, and Sarah joins us from Revel Home Mortgage.
I'm with Ravis Home Mortgage.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And actually, I'm Melissa Cohn. I work with Melissa Cohn. I'm also her daughter. So
Oh.
it's a family thing.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah,
We don't
absolutely.
judge.
No, but to your point,
And I love
I've,
them both.
I've definitely seen a huge increase in inquiries about mortgages. But of course, the conversation right now really just centers around what's going on with rates.
Right.
This coming week, we're going to actually have the Fed is meeting again. And the expectation is that depending on what they do, we'll potentially actually see some relief in the rate market, which is good news
I'm
for
looking,
everybody.
so this is like, I'm fascinated right now.
There are some data points that are going to come out this week, CPI and PPI before the Fed. And then we have retail sales coming out after. So the Fed's going to take a little bit of a gamble in terms of what they do. prior to the past few weeks and the sort of impasse we had over the debt ceiling. It was generally accepted they were not going to raise rates again. There is a small chance that the Fed will raise rates, but that does not mean mortgage rates are coming up. And in fact, that could sort of indicate to the markets that the government is continuing to fight the inflation problem that we're facing. Although it's less than it used to be, it's still around 4.9%. So anyways, all that to say that hopefully after the Fed meeting, we're going to see a little bit more relief in the rate market, and that's the news that everyone's looking for.
Yeah, I've got my fingers crossed in my pocket.
Tim, are people that sensitive to it? When she says CPI and PPI, I have no idea,
Yeah,
but like.
and I'm a realtor and I don't really know what all that means either sometimes,
What does
but
it mean?
I think, I
Do
think.
buyers come in and say, I know this is about to happen, the Fed's gonna do this or that?
Yeah, I mean, everybody else seems to have the crystal ball except the real estate agents.
Well,
which is
unfortunately,
really
my
funny.
crystal ball has been broken.
Yeah, no, and I don't mean her, I mean like, the buyers coming in, they all seem to know exactly what's gonna happen in the market, and I wish I had that insight as well. No, I mean, I think it's kind of becoming the new normal, and people are getting used to the fact that they're not gonna see, 3% anymore, or probably won't for a very, very long time. So, my mantra is, date the rate and marry the house. I mean, when you fall in love with
we
the
heard that
house.
last week. I love
Okay,
that.
Absolutely.
okay, so he stole it from me then. I know that now.
No,
Okay,
Melissa said
that
it.
is, Melissa said
Yeah,
it?
I've
Okay,
also
that's so
saying
funny.
that for a
All right.
while.
No,
I've never heard that
No,
before.
yeah, and
I mean,
it really is, I mean, it's like, the rate, the rate right now is high, you're gonna pay more for your monthly
But
payment.
so are the prices, because right now
Yeah.
the market, because of how low the inventory is,
Well,
homes
if you
are
think about
so
that,
overvalued.
there are so many people who are sitting on the sidelines right now because they
Yes.
feel like rates are too high. So when we do see rates come down, you're actually probably going to see
That's
a huge
right, and
I
influx of
saw-
buyers.
I think
So,
I
That is
saw
absolutely right. I
I saw
just
some
read about
Barbara
that.
Corcoran
yeah.
Yes.
do a video where she was saying exactly that. But for me, I'm looking, but what's stopping me is I'm asking on a house that is maybe worth that, but I'm losing it every time because they're going over asking.
So that's
I
still a
don't
thing,
wanna-
the bidding wars are still
Well, it
happening.
depends on where
good-
you're looking,
I'm-
but
yeah, good properties, absolutely.
And if
Yeah.
something's well priced.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what it is. It's really about pricing it when you put it out. I mean, if something is, perceived to be overpriced, buyers just aren't putting offers on it. Buyers are much more focused on putting in a price if they feel that something is at the right value, they
Right.
will put in their offer, but they're not into one of these negotiations where it's like already 10% overpriced and they're going back and forth 10 and 15 and 20,000. They wanna make an offer, maybe get a counter and then get it done.
So when I go on Zillow, why is something there 120 days on the market? Or like,
that's at the
they're
wrong
just
price
priced
then.
wrong and it's in a
Because
bad
Zillow is
neighborhood or?
completely inaccurate in the Hamptons market.
Oh,
There is
really?
nothing correct about Zillow in the Hamptons market
Oh,
whatsoever.
interesting to
Don't look
hear.
at Zillow.
That's
Nobody
good
wants
know.
to hear that, but it's very true. First of all, Zillow is a feed that comes from MLS primarily, and it's very technical. There's two different listing systems in the Hamptons. One is the primary one called the East End Listing Exchange. That all of the real estate agencies in the Hamptons are a part of. But then MLS is another sort of Long Island based one that only about 50% of the agencies are a part of. So what you're seeing on Zillow is only about 50% accurate at best. And forget the Zestimates and all that kind of stuff. I mean,
Is there such a,
they're
is there
never-
still,
they're never right.
is there still such a thing as pocket listings?
Yeah, I mean,
Could Gianna call you and go, I wanna see something that no one knows about yet, or is that only on $1 million listings?
no, yeah, I mean, there is. I mean, my agency has bi-weekly meetings and an agent will say, look, I've got a homeowner who's thinking of selling, we've got it as a quiet listing, so they'll kind of describe the house to us, and if you have a buyer for it, we kind of do it among ourselves.
I think at the end of the day, it's still such a relationship-based industry,
Yeah,
which
it's
is why
like you sound like
cannot-
matchmakers.
You cannot do the entire process online. It
Yeah.
goes for mortgage, it goes for the actual purchase, but that's part of having the conversation with a professional. And yeah, every now and
That's
then
what
there
Zillow's
is.
trying to do now,
is a
right? I
secret
just
thing.
saw
They're trying to do
their
everything,
marketing for
right,
that.
Yeah.
Boy, and the
Oh,
2% thing online where they're cutting everybody back to 2, okay. So Sarah, what should buyers do to get ready before they go out and look at houses?
Absolutely. I think the
Give-
first step is
Get pre-approved.
is getting your pre-approval in place.
So
And
that's
that-
still a thing. Does
it's
that
absolutely-
generate,
Yes,
does that
yes.
generate a hard hit on your credit history
So
when you
it
do that?
does.
Tell every single person to
And
do
what I
that.
was gonna add actually in that conversation is that running your credit especially if it's early in your search, is particularly important because we're finding all sorts of things on credit reports. You would be shocked by how many errors there are. Sometimes just wrong information is
Okay,
reported.
JCPenney's wrong. I didn't buy all that stuff.
And of course, sometimes
45 years ago.
And sometimes especially with COVID and everyone was moving around, we've seen a lot of collections that have come up that people aren't even aware of.
Discrepancy is
And
huge.
while you can, especially if there's an error, you can get your credit corrected, it takes time. As one might expect, the bureaus have a lot of bureaucracy.
But you want to do that. You want to know it early on and
Because
get
your
those
credit
changes made
score
if you can.
is going to have a huge impact on the mortgage that you're able to get.
What's a bad score? Anything under 700 or 600?
I would say anything above 740 is going to put you in line for the best rates, although that's sort of changed recently. I don't know if you saw, but there was some press regarding bad credit scores.
Oh yeah, I did see this. Can you explain? So
Did they name you by name?
No, I have excellent credit, Bill. So I heard that there's something going on where if you have bad credit, you are now like
So
this.
it was essentially
Explain
it was misconstrued to
Yes,
say that if
okay.
you have bad credit, you would now all of a sudden get a better rate because of it. And that
Oh,
was-
like the government was going to underwrite it somehow? or-
yeah, that it would. But the reality
Cool. Is that true?
the reality is that you are now maybe being punished a little bit less for having
Oh, I
bad
see.
credit, but
Okay.
you will still get much better rates with a good credit score.
Okay,
And
so
all of those rules different when we're talking about second homes as opposed to primary homes?
The way that the rates are calculated are different, but at the end of the day, it always pays to have good credit. So that's definitely the first place you want to start.
All right, I guess I
and
can't
then-
move.
Yeah, quickly, as much as those are the do's, the don'ts, don't go shopping for a car.
Right.
open a
Oh, I
credit
love
card.
these.
You know, you just want
don't
to
open
kind
a
of
new account,
yeah, so
right?
you just kind of want to
Right.
hold steady. Also, don't transfer money between accounts.
I cannot tell you how hard it was to get my first mortgage because I was banking like a millennial.
And by the
No,
way,
I was
you
like,
can
well,
move
I
money,
moved, but
but you're gonna have
seriously,
to document
for
all
the
of it, and it's a
three-
pain.
for the
So,
3 months
they look at that
before,
stuff.
and
Yes.
it's usually 3 months.
2 months of bank statements that
Okay.
we're providing. So anything that shows up on those statements,
They're gonna
we
make
have to
you.
document, and that is federal anti-money laundering
Right.
law. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
It just is.
I also learned something in the credit process that I found fascinating, which is it really hurts you if you have a $20,000 credit line and you go over 10,000 in
Absolutely.
purchases.
You want to
If you go over 50% of what they've allowed you, that 20,000 they've given you really is not what you should be even
I
getting
have some
close to.
bad news for you. You actually want to keep it probably below 10%
Right,
of
yeah.
whatever
Oh, really?
that
You
credit
gotta
limit
pay
is.
off your card every month,
But that is
Bill.
also the quickest way to
I'm never
improve your
moving.
credit. If you pay down large balances, that's going to be the quickest and easiest bump to your
To bump
credit
your,
score.
yeah. What about the services that say they can get your credit score up?
We actually work very closely with a credit specialist. You have to make sure you're working with somebody who really understands the business. And I think probably the most important fact in that is whether it's something that can actually be fixed or not. So that's where that expert will essentially tell you whether or not it's worth it to pay because it is costly.
If you're
in
just
terms of
flipping
having that.
around and found us, thank you. This is Hamptons Live. It is happening live this weekend. It's the Hamptons Now, and we were doing what we call the Real Estate Roundtable. The nice folks at Douglas Elliman and also Melissa Cohn's closing company are generous donors to that. We appreciate it. Has nothing to do with your booking, but it didn't hurt, did it? We are talking to Sarah Alvarez and Tim Birch about what buyers need to do to get ready and what, now let's switch to you, Tim, and go, what does a seller need? What do I need to do to my house to get it ready? Do I stage it? Are there staging companies out here in the Hamptons? We see so much of it on HGTV.
Yes, there absolutely are staging companies out here. And I mean, if I'm working with, let's say, a builder or somebody who's just, doing a flip, if you want to use that term, empty houses don't sell as well. You just people can't visualize what it's gonna look like. In fact, empty rooms look smaller.
I'm interested to hear that.
Yeah, empty rooms look smaller and people just can't picture what a house is gonna look like
See, I'm the
furnished.
opposite.
So I encourage staging and or if somebody, let's say an estate sale and, a lot of grandma's furniture is there and a lot of stuff that just doesn't
Right.
look,
Personal
No.
stuff, they
besides
always
the
say get
idea
rid of all
of
that.
decluttering and just, bringing it down to as minimal as possible, everything personal out of the house, all photos, anything that's just too personal needs to
Right.
go. And then sometimes we can then bring staging in to fill in what we've removed, the couches that go like this and wood.
Do you
and-
do any virtual staging or is
Virtual
it all-
staging for listings, absolutely, I do that often. We
So an empty house, but a laptop in
Yeah.
it that says, here's what this room would look like, or here's what
We
that
can
room.
even shoot a fully furnished room, remove all the furniture and put in all new furniture, change the wall
Awesome.
colors, everything. You know, it has to be, it has to be stated in the listing, that it is virtually stated, because we don't want a buyer coming thinking that they're seeing
That
that.
it's some sort of.
We don't usually play around with kitchens and bathrooms that can
Yeah,
start,
I was just gonna say, would this kitchen sell? How's this look? Is
It's
this
a great
okay?
Oh,
kitchen.
yeah.
Is this money in the bank, this
They
place,
did
or
a
are we in
great
trouble?
job on this kitchen.
How about, isn't it
Absolutely.
great when I step into the, look,
There you
I'm the
are.
talking logo. Boom, boom, boom.
That's like one of
Okay,
those
so sorry.
faces.
What about quality photos? Because I think that makes a huge
Absolutely,
difference.
I mean, absolutely, and I still am shocked when I look in our listing system, I'll use the term MLS for lack of a better term, and see photos of a sales listing, and it's so obvious that somebody's done it not only with a phone, but an old phone.
And it's a multi-million-dollar listing.
And it's like, a $2 million listing, it's like, why in the world would you let somebody represent you that's gonna
Right.
do that? They've just
Right.
completely devalued your property.
Right.
Is Montauk Harbor worth $140 million?
If somebody's willing to write the check, it absolutely is. I
Yeah.
mean, it's so hard to say, there's no way to
Didn't it
comp
just
something.
sell for 70 like a
Yeah,
couple of years ago?
Exactly.
Can you talk about the effect of comps on homes in a neighborhood?
Yeah, I mean,
Because it's huge.
it is. I'm very data driven. Like to me, I like to,
So are
prove-
banks.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to prove your number. I mean, they say you have to sell the house I say you have to sell the house 3 times. You have to sell it to the client themselves. You have to sell it to the bank, but
Right,
primarily,
right,
yeah,
right.
especially the underwriter. The appraiser and then the underwriter. I'm sorry, that's what it is. You sell it to the client, then to the appraiser, and then the underwriter before they really get the house. Unless
Right.
they're bank cash, which is a
Yeah,
different
I
story.
think people don't necessarily realize that when an appraisal comes in, the bank actually reviews it to make sure they agree with it. It's
And
not
that's
just
why,
set
like,
in stone, so.
sometimes you will see houses on the market for 100 whatever days. I know that there was a house that I was interested in. I got it appraised and it was 100 grand below what it was being listed at. So I put an offer for that and was told I'm 100,000 off. And I'm like, I don't think so. Because if I put an offer for what they want, and then the says, I will give you a mortgage for
Well, from the
100,000
financing
less.
perspective, they're gonna go off of the lesser of the purchase price or the
Right.
appraised value. So if it comes in low.
And the neighborhoods out here are so crazy. There's a $20 million house next to a $100,000, well, there's no 100,000, but
No,
like
there's
next
no,
to a $1
because
million
even if it's $100,000
shack,
house, I saw a house in Southampton that it looked like I could afford it.
Yeah.
So I called and it was, like a little 2-bedroom house. And he's like, oh yeah, 2.5 million I'm looking for because of just the
That's scaring a lot of buyers away, but your mom last week said, jump in, get it, you won't be sorry, it's one of the first big investments you make, the Hamptons aren't going anywhere. We are going somewhere, let's put up the open houses, I wanna ask you guys if you know about any of these properties, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but these are open houses this weekend, all over the Hamptons, 19 Hedges Lane on Saturday, 37 Norfolk Drive in the Springs, I don't know Norfolk Drive, but I get lost in
I
the
do.
12 to 2 on Saturday. Woodland Drive North, and 302 Shore Road in Amagansett. Shore Road, is that south of the highway?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, that's down in
Down
the
in
dunes.
the flats, or
Yeah,
down in-
dunes,
yeah.
exactly. I believe that's a Brown Harris Stevens listing, I'm not sure.
Oh.
Norfolk Drive is actually up in Clearwater Beach, which is the northern tip of East Hampton. I mean, that was a bedroom community that for years was just sort of like a really well-kept secret. Everything was, underpriced, but now there's been sort of generational changes. And everybody's discovered it. There's one of the most beautiful harbor beaches up there with a western facing sunset every night.
So when the realtor says walk to beach, they're not lying?
You can
'Cause
literally walk
sometimes
to,
you guys are
you can walk to a
stretching
beach
that.
that has a
Walk to
light.
beach if you're Gandhi.
No, you can walk to one of the most beautiful, I've sold probably 28 properties in Clearwater Beach, and they're the greatest value you can get your hands on.
That's in,
It's
And
it's
in
Springs,
Springs.
it's
Yeah.
north,
oh, it is?
it's
Oh,
the
okay.
northern tip of Springs.
Sort of like North Haven when you're going over to Shelter and there's a couple of those North Haven communities that
Right,
have
right.
waterfront.
I always kind of say like Northwest Woods and Springs, they kind
Oh,
of.
cool.
Hey, we gotta let you
So
guys
got
go. I
hiking-
find,
you got
I find
hiking
all of this
and-
really fascinating, and we're getting last before you go, and please come back anytime. Neighborhood you would invest your own money in if you were investing, like what's the next happening, popping hood?
Oh,
Anything spring to mind? Is there anything left that's a good deal?
like
I
on the
mean-
South Fork?
Well, I mean, kind of feel like Wainscott doesn't get as much like airplay and time, as much presses as it does. So I think the prices, most of the lots in Wainscott are bigger.
Wainscott North.
Wainscott North. Well, Wainscott South is great too. It seems that, you know, if you were to look at East
Yeah,
Hampton
Ron
South.
Perlman.
Right, but if you look at East Hampton South versus a lot of the properties in Wainscott South, they're not, you know, there's a way different
Interesting.
margin
And I
and
think like
prices.
for dipping your toes in the market and really just kind of getting started on a lower budget, I see a lot of activity in Hampton Bays with first-time home buyers where, you know, you're a little bit removed from the quote-unquote center of the Hamptons, but there's still some good deals to be had
Yeah,
there.
it's moving
so.
west, isn't it?
It's great.
Sarah Alvarez, Tim Birch, thank you for joining us this
you.
morning on the Real Estate Roundtable. Nice folks at Douglas Elliman, one of the sponsors there, and we really appreciate it. We will now move a little over this way. They will take leave, and let's bring the Lippmans up. What do you say?
Oh my gosh, I would love
Yeah,
that.
Jason, you like this setup, don't you? Here they come. Sure, it's live TV. Have a
Howie
seat.
and Sherry.
Howie and Sherry Lippman are here. They're going to
It's
tell
been
us
too
about
long.
the Road Forward scholarships, and this show is all about things that are happening, and you have something happening tonight, and it's very successful and it's sold out.
Bridgehampton Community House.
Sherry, oh, okay.
Let's see here, I'll show them.
This is live, so here we go.
Yeah, is that?
That's our
can we-
banner.
I don't know,
Any
it's
chance we
very-
see
I
that?
know,
Can you
the
get that?
Bridgehampton.
You get
Oh, yeah, that's
I'll
great.
go really close.
Oh, look, Jason coming in for the tight shot.
Yeah,
Oh,
Jay.
God, there's gonna be a note about this. So
It's fine.
what is the
I like,
Road
don't
Forward?
do that.
What, tell us about
I
that
will
scholarship.
just open it, Sherry will do most of the speaking, but firstly, our daughter went to Michigan, so I
Go blue.
enjoy your cup.
Go blue, is that what they say? I've
That's
heard
what
that.
they say.
And secondly, we ate at that Indian restaurant last night.
Oh,
did
really?
you
And I
really?
saw you at the door. I don't know if you remember me.
What?
I came in filling out a thing.
Okay,
We
so
You
live
were
now,
across the
chatting
street.
with your friend.
This
And
will
we
all
loved
come
it.
out of the
And my
trial.
third issue before
are
we get
you
to the
guys,
thing.
wait, before you go, what's going, we grew up, or I grew up, where
next
you
to each other.
raised
Yeah.
10
your
to 5.
daughter,
A mile away.
his daughter went to the college, you went to,
The
you're
restaurant.
like keyed in.
Yeah, we're kidding.
You're
A
like
lot of things.
Neo
We're
from
like
The
you.
Matrix.
Forget Kevin Bacon, we're like 1 degree apart.
And the community is
That's-
keyed
that's
into
But I just
hilarious.
also want to thank you yesterday for that great
Oh my
interview.
gosh, of course.
Now we'll talk about Road Forward.
Yes.
Sherry, you want to start?
Okay, so what do you want to know?
Well, what does the scholarship do? I know during COVID, it became important and sort of got a push, so tell us a little bit about it.
So we were feeding 8 families for 2 years who lost their income because of COVID.
And when you say we, this
This
organization,
is a group of people within the Temple Adas Israel. We were a part of a committee.
Social Justice Committee, it's called.
And so after feeding them, I had a concern for the children. What's gonna happen to them when they don't have money? Will they ever go to college? And my people on the committee said, no. And I said, well, that can't be. And so my friend called me and said, can you start a committee? So we started a committee with 4 people to try and raise money to give scholarships to kids here, keeping it local in the East End. And that has mushroomed into quite a big group. We now have 14 people on the committee, and our event tonight is at the Bridgehampton Community House from 5 to 6. We had a close.
Saturday, when
5
you
to
say tonight,
7:30.
we're weekend
Yeah,
live,
Saturday.
so,
Saturday
Tonight.
night.
yeah.
And we had to close the ticket sales online because we're full capacity, which we never thought would happen ever. We're so excited, but donations can be accepted online for now and forever.
Temple Adas
Israel.
Israel.org, and it's ADAS, and then you can choose it from the drop-down
Or it's
menu.
/road-forward-scholarships.
The best thing to do is
Just go on the Temple website.
TempleAdasIsrael.org, and then you click the donate button, there's gonna be a drop-down menu, and you can choose Road Forward on that menu.
Correct.
If you're
Yes.
interested to help local
We have it
kids
on the
go to
screen right
college.
now.
Oh, fantastic.
Great, yeah, there we
Very
go.
nice.
Thanks, Jason. He's way ahead of us.
The thing that,
It
the
is.
thing that I really wanted to mention that I love about the research that you did is the fact that you looked and saw that when kids get a one-time scholarship, there were dropouts afterward when the money ran out. What is different about Road Forward that helps kids stay in school?
Last year, we gave 3 donations to, scholarships to recipients, $1,800 each. And we felt it wasn't enough. And in doing the research, we realized we had to supply 4 years.
Oh.
So our goal for tonight is to raise $60,000 and to give each recipient $10,000, which will be $2,500 a year.
Can they go to college for that with some
Well,
help from?
Suffolk-
It will
Community,
supplement them,
yeah.
especially with what the governor's doing to help
Yes.
kids that are graduating automatically go to Suffolk. And the thing that I've been saying is, if you go to like a state university, what you find out is that first year of school, it's all the same prerequisite classes, so you might as well
Yes.
think about a community college just to get that stuff out of the way, and then you have another year to think about what do I wanna do with my life?
Right.
Also, I want to mention, to Bill's question, many of these kids do get some financial aid from the schools. They have these reports that we look at, and we want to help the kids that need it the most. So they get scholarships from us, from other people, and a lot of financial aid. And some of these schools are not, University of Michigan, they're lower cost schools. And
The state.
They're state schools, and you could, if you put packages together, it can work.
What you're doing is exciting. It was born out of necessity, and I won't call COVID a tragedy, although it was tragic for many families, but you were able to put something together at the temple. This is amazing. I really appreciate your dropping by. We both do. The event tonight is sold out, but as we showed you, you can go to the website and make a very necessary, we're gonna get you to that $60,000 one way or
Thank
the
you.
other.
And also, just wanted to add in that these scholarships are for kids with needs. They have to present financial need, where some of the kids, none of the parents can even give
That's
them
a
a
question.
dollar for education.
And they have to be involved with social justice.
Social
We don't
justice.
just, not just.
Do they have to write an essay or
Yes,
anything?
no, it's a
Can you?
very long application. Do you want to explain it?
Yeah, we asked for them, pose a question, if you were given $1 million, what would you use,
Oh my
how would
gosh.
you use it? Because, and then we asked for their extracurricular activities, we asked for the list of colleges that they're applying to and where they plan to go. And then we say, tell us about yourself in a creative way. Give us a poem or a drawing or a video and show us, not just in an essay, but give us,
What
if
are
you wish
some,
to.
have you gotten the
We've seen
applications?
drawings, yeah, we saw drawings, we've seen videos. One of our recipients is a keyboardist and a musician, and he sent us a video
Nice.
of his music.
Wow.
So it's a very creative application.
And not to put too fine a point on this, but these are people that never otherwise would have gone to college.
That's right.
And now they are.
And the first in their family.
Wow,
Many of
thank
them.
you so much for coming by.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
And we've so enjoyed you so much, we'd like you to take home some delicious Indian
Oh,
food.
butter
I had it
chicken?
last
We
night.
had it last
I had it last
night.
night.
We had it last
Now
night.
you've got
Thank you
leftovers.
very much.
I love the
Thank you.
pakora. The pakora was great, and that rice you
Here's
served
to you.
was unbelievable.
So if you'd like to get involved, templeadasisrael.org, and have a great time today.
Thank you.
Thank you
Yes,
very much.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Hey, look, if you're going, if you don't know what to do with the kids this weekend, here, step out that way.
We will.
I love a live show.
I love lunch.
If you're,
Me too.
if you're
I feel
stuck
so much
in the
better.
house.
Just
for
don't
any
walk
reason,
in front of the
you wanna watch
camera.
this weekend,
There's one.
Jason's talking to us?
Yeah, just don't walk towards the camera.
Yeah, everyone's
yeah.
doing that. Sorry, thanks. But they're leaving, it's fine. They won't make any more trouble. Thanks, Howdy. The Littmans, like Elvis, have left the building. There are lots of movies happening this weekend. We're gonna tell you about what's happening at Sag Harbor, and we're gonna tell you about what's happening at Regal in East Hampton. But one of the big ones that the kids wanna see is the latest and greatest Transformers movie. Now, they're all dopey, but this one is allegedly less dopey. Let's get a sneak peek now, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about a very special event happening tonight here at LTV. Here's Transformers, The Beast Arrives, or The Beast, something about a beast.
Rise of the Beasts.
We've seen the Maximals in graphic novels, and we've seen them in the cartoon, but we have never seen them in live action.
We took an oath to protect the universe.
He's a really larger-than-life, likable character.
There is more to us than meets the eye.
Airazor carries this sense of regalness with her.
30 seconds.
Time, she's a
30 seconds till live.
Let's get it. Rhinox is a beast.
Almost indestructible.
Stranger danger! Cheeto is the man. It's a sense of family with the Maximals.
Autobots and Maximals, all as one. Maximals, maximize!
But we'll show you the show times in a minute. It's all day long. You can literally go to Regal East Hampton today, drop the kids off at noon and pick them up at midnight. There is something every 2 hours for kids. But in the meantime, something extremely exciting is
So
happening here
exciting.
tonight.
Well, it's today,
Yeah,
so
well,
so
we should say
Saturday,
Saturday, right.
Saturday at noon, right here at LTV, there is a free Indigenous fashion and film festival with vendors. It's gonna be awesome. If you aren't able to make it and you want to contribute, you can text LTV Fashion Film to 41444. Very excited to welcome to the studio Gnu Benton, LTV's very own.
Yes.
Kayla Looking Horse Smith.
Hi.
And Lionel Thundercloud. So Lionel, let's start with you because I didn't get a chance to talk to you yesterday at WLIWFM. You are collaborating with Kayla Looking Horse Smith for today's show, right?
Correct. So I'm Navajo from the Navajo Nation, and if you don't mind, I'm going to put my
Please
wrist
do.
here.
Yeah, please.
You can
We
get
can
a
get an overhead
close-up
shot and look
of
at some of
that.
this. You're a jewelry designer.
Yes, I live in LA, but this is 2-foot cast from the Navajo Nation. It's a specific process. And I'm collaborating with her. Sorry, there we go.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So this is my logo, K Looking Horse, the 3 lines, past,
Very
present,
cool.
future, that we did a
Collab
amazing
on.
collab.
Yeah.
Oh my God, look at the opal.
Now, how much would something like that go for? All
Nine,
hand-
9 to 11,000.
Wow. And that's silver and
Pure
what's the
silver,
stone?
pure silver,
Opal.
24 karat gold with fire opal, and it's
Oh,
2
Yeah,
foot
put it
cast.
up there again, and can we get another
So
overhead shot? That's a fire opal. How many carats is that? Do we measure fire opals in carats or?
Not necessarily because I rough cut it, so.
Note to
yeah.
Mrs. McCuddy, I am not bringing this home. She's
this
already,
way?
yeah, there we go. Look at
There
that.
we go.
Wow. So
And
9 to
it's-
11,000.
And it's a very specific to the Navajo Nation 2-foot casting.
And what about the thing you were wearing?
So this is
what's that
again,
stone?
Go higher, Lionel.
Towards the
camera, yeah.
There you are.
See it?
Very cool.
That is gorgeous.
Yeah, that's badass. I'm
Thank
sorry,
you.
am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you can. Oh,
Yeah, this is
nice. Look at the turquoise.
And again, it's 2-foot cast, so it's very specific
So
to.
2 for cast. What does that mean?
And what would this go for and what would that go for?
These go between 12 and 15,000.
Wow.
So 2-foot cast means 2-foot is petrified volcanic ash that's cut, and then I carve the relief. So when I cast the molten silver in there, it breaks when I open it, so it's only one of a kind.
That is the coolest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, good for you.
It's okay, say it again. Petrified volcanic ash?
Yes. So.
And
yeah.
so you
Tiffany's isn't doing that.
No, they're not.
It's just this guy.
I know. There's a reason why they're here.
That's
'cause
crazy.
They're awesome. And so talk, Kayla, about collaborating with Lionel. How did that partnership come to be?
Oh, well, we connected right off in
At a
LA and the
a fashion show in Las Vegas.
Yes,
Okay.
I did the Raz fashion show this past March.
Mhm.
Yes.
How
And
was it?
it was amazing. So I was
And are
like,
you
I
wearing
need some.
one of
She's
your?
wearing yes.
So I'm
this is-
actually wearing a dress, a versatile dress that I designed, and it can be a duster, it can be like a beach overlay.
Oh, yeah.
It has some silk organza on the bottom. And, I'm really showcasing Lionel's art today because I felt like, Indigenous fashion, film, that all just works together.
Right.
And we need to really highlight the jewelry artists to make those statement pieces because we're very colorful people, we have a lot of amazing energy. So I hope everybody can come out and see
Yeah, if you're
the
just
looks
joining us, this
today.
is Hampton's Live. It says right up there in the corner, and we're talking about a free event on Saturday, June 10th, starting at noon until 6 o'clock. It is an Indigenous fashion and runway show, but also films and discussion, which we'll get to in just a second. Take a shot of the overhead, and we will show you again some of these fashions because these are all designed by you and others.
So that's the Ashley Bodycon dress, and that's the Selena. Which one's this one?
Seneca.
And
This is from New York Fashion Week last year. I did some custom pieces there that went on that
Nice.
runway, the Sky
Gorgeous.
collection.
Thanks to the nice folks at Mohegan Sun and Foxwoods for helping to put this together. Now, Gnu, let's talk about the movies.
the dim,
Yes.
the world premiere of Gnu's first film.
Yes, it is going to be the world premiere of my film. This has been an idea. We've had a film festival last year, and now that we've introduced Kayla into our circle here, it was really Mike and Kayla's idea to be able to combine this into one single show. We were trying to find 2 different dates that we're collaborating together, like today and tomorrow, but we decided to put it all into one day, into one event, so that we can all feed off of each other into showing our relationship together and how everything works together.
And the film is about what and how long and?
So we will, before the fashion show, have a short film festival. We will, Kansas, what is his last name again?
Middle tent.
Yes, Kansas Middle Tent. He is here. He'll be talking about his film. It's a short PSA talking about fatherhood in Indigenous communities. Really good messaging. We have a film by Laron Kachaya, who did a 5-minute film with Cara Jade Myers, who just went to Cannes for Killers of the Flower Moon. She's starring in that.
Wow.
So we're showing that here, and then we'll also have her be joining via Zoom as well as the director.
Oh, that's huge. I mean, they're talking about her for an Oscar and how she steals scenes from De Niro and DiCaprio.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not, seriously, this is what I'm reading in Variety.
So we're showing her film and having her appear, you know?
That's great.
So yes, they were so excited to be able to join us. There is another film out of Canada, 2 films out of Canada. She Whistles, it's a film centering around missing and murdered Indigenous women. So all the films that we have are, you know, they have really great messaging and important. So my film, The Dim, it's a...
You do sci-fi.
Yeah, so I'm getting well known in being able to combine science fiction, horror, embedded in modern day Native American culture. One of the things I like to say is that a lot of people are used to seeing us in the past.
Or
you
in
know,
that context.
It's in that context, like Martin Scorsese's film, like that's still set in the past. But today we try to show people who we are today. You know, we have Shinnecock Powwow, and that's a very big event that happens at the end of the summer. But we want to show people who we are in the today and now, and where we are going with our ideas in the future, going into the future together, collaborating. You know what I mean?
Inclusive.
Unity.
Part of a general
Unity
population.
is like,
Yeah.
Unity is big for as far as this event is concerned.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And again, if you'd like to donate, you can text LTV Fashion Film to 41444, especially if you're not able to be there on Saturday. It's a free event, noon to 6, right here at LTV Studios in East Hampton.
On Industrial Road in a Butler building that you've driven by, probably never, but it's in, if you put, some people put Wainscott, some people put East Hampton in their GPS. You get here eventually, and we're thrilled to have had you guys here. Thank you so much. It's happening all day today. Let's get another shot of the poster as we say goodbye to our guests. It was great having them, and this is the event that's happening here today, all day long, and thank you guys for joining us so much. Good luck.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks.
Appreciate it so much.
Bye. See you all later.
Wow,
Thank
okay, it's almost too much show. We talked about Paul McCartney from Amagansett. Oh, yeah, we're gonna go, yes. We talked about Paul McCartney and Amagansett, and there they go right by them. And now they're done.
Oh, look, yeah, Kayla, yeah.
Thanks. That was cool.
That was
And you talked to
super
them
fun.
yesterday. I wanna
Yes.
mention that you're on WLIW every day as well.
Yes.
And Bridget Leroy had to take the weekend off. Patrick
love you,
McLaughlin is
Bridget.
not able, we can't replace Patrick, so he wasn't here. But thank you for jumping in and doing, this is great. We have about
Let's happy
5
to
minutes
help.
left, so I want to tell people where to find you during the week.
Okay, so 88.3 on the FM dial throughout eastern Long Island or coastal Connecticut, 96.9 in central and western Suffolk County, or streaming online wherever you are at wliw.org/radio. You can also ask your smart speaker to play WLIW-FM. I'm live there Monday through Friday, 9 to 11, playing music from all decades and genres and speaking to folks from all walks of life. But you can also hear an encore performance at midnight every night, or if you aren't available either of those times, I put the archived episodes online at wliw.org/radio. Again, it's the heart of the East End.
All right, promised a lot of stuff at the top of the show. Want to get quickly to Paul McCartney from Amagansett from Liverpool, from all over the world, but has a home here. So he's the... at Bookhampton this weekend. It's called Eyes of the Storm, and the premise of the book is they gave him a Nikon, that's them running down 58th Street towards the Plaza Hotel. They gave him a camera, he took a lot of pictures, a few more of which maybe we'll take a look at. And in 1964, and somehow these photographs, he also has one that looks like the very first selfie. These photographs never before seen. The book launches this week, and it's kind of exciting because if you're a Beatles fan, you think you've heard and seen everything, and yet they unearthed this stuff, and it's coming out. Julie Andrews, all summer long, has been honored all year long at the Sag Harbor Cinema.
The world of
Julie Andrews. Her husband is Blake Edwards. He made a movie called 10. Let's show when that's airing. We'll throw that graphic up. Here's what's happening at Sag Harbor Cinema this weekend, one of our favorite places to go. They run since it's reopened, I have to say, one of the best screens, sound system, everything. Those are the times. But we're featuring 10 because Blake Edwards, who was married to Julie, has made that iconic film with Dudley Moore and Bo Derek that put that hairstyle on the map. And there was a guy named William Lohr who wrote a book about Blake Edwards.
We'll do a
Q&A afterwards. And then Sunday night, there's another film called The House He Built. And that's at 6 o'clock. And that's about how important our houses are to us. Apropos of the real estate roundtable conversation we were having. So that's at 6 o'clock Sunday night over there. And then you saw some of the other movies that are playing there this weekend.
I liked doing the underwriting spot for that because it says also showing is You Hurt My Feelings. And that's just really fun to say.
Let's motor through a couple of things.
You hurt my feelings, Bill.
I'm sorry. We said last week that was the Bridget Leroy life story. Behind the Microscope, Today's Women Pioneers in Science is happening Saturday at 5 o'clock, Bay Street Theater. Go to baystreet.org for more information about that. Out of the Blue is a fundraising dinner for Southampton Village Rescue. Very important. Also Saturday at 6. There's live music. You can go to southamptonvillageoceanrescue.org. Believe it or not, that's a site. southamptonvillageoceanrescue.org. The thing I mentioned about Candace Bushnell is happening at the church. I love the church.
The church is so beautiful.
For those of you who don't know, the church is a church in Sag Harbor. They were up all night naming it. And they have renovated it and made it into an incredible public space. Tonight,
really is.
Candace Bushnell has done this in the city with sex in the city at, I believe, places like what's the Carlisle and stuff, but she's bringing her one-woman show out tonight. All the proceeds support the church. I don't believe it's sold out. It's a fascinating show. She talks about developing sex in the city. Maybe you can ask her about Kim Cattrall finally coming back. Let's just start a little, get something going there. 48 Madison Street in Sag Harbor. More information at thechurchsagharbor.org. One of my favorite groups, Rum Punch Mafia, has a reggae night Sunday at Stephen Talkhouse.
Well, I want to mention two things really quick. That
Sure.
The Moby Dick readathon is going all weekend long. You can go to caneosbooks.com.
I love that bookstore. That's an old school cool bookstore.
And on Sunday, limusichallofFame.org to find out more about the 50th anniversary of Hip Hop Show.
On a more professional show, we would have visuals, but we just like talking to you, and that's what's important. We're live, as you can tell, all weekend long. Thank you for joining us on Weekend Live. The last thing before we go is there's a murder mystery party in West Hampton. We did not get to, and I apologize, all of the incredible tag sales that are happening this weekend.
And the Montauk Blessing of the Fleets.
Oh, the Blessing of the Fleet, Sunday, June 11th. I'm running out of voice, 5 to 7. That's in Montauk on Sunday. I want to thank you for coming by.
I had a great time, Bill.
Well, we'll change that. Oh, Wednesday night, I'm at Canoe Place with Bill Bratton.
Oh, are you?
The top cop in America, talking about, gun control, violence, everything we should be doing. Our thanks to the Littmans for coming by, the Indigenous fashion show, the jewelry, that now Mrs. McCuddy is going to want me to buy her.
And all of you, viewers of LTV.
Tweet us, call in. We're going to wave now. Bye-bye. Thanks, Jason. You make us look good, and that's hard.